Do they see you, or do they just see what they can get from you? So I'm going to basically share a story about how I realized that my partner had not seen me in the entire 11 years that we had been together. This was the start of the rupture. So you may think that, as what I've shared in the past, it was the cheating that had me leave right away, or realize that he didn't love me. But it wasn't. I didn't recognize that. I thought that that was just a mistake, and I was willing to forgive because, I have such a big heart, and I know that people make mistakes, and I thought that that's what that was. I thought that there had been such a misunderstanding, and that he had truly not felt appreciated, and he truly felt like the relationship was over, and he'd hinted for months that he was losing feelings. So I thought that this was a temporary lapse in judgment and that we could repair. Now, I now know I deserved a lot better. I now recognize that I had been settling, and I now recognize that I deserve someone who wants all of me and is willing to give me all of them, and that they would never think to do something so hurtful as to make it so that I was basically made a fool of, to be honest. But even before my partner got my former friend pregnant, there was another hint. I mean, the universe really loves to try to give those hints to tell you, like, this is not working, this is not it. And I had been fighting for years for this relationship to work. I had been. I will admit it. And the universe was basically saying, like, no, you have to leave. Like, this is not it. You're being abused here. You're being like gaslit horribly. Your self-worth is being diminished. You are being held back from your dreams. Your kids are suffering. But maybe this will get you. Maybe this will get you to see that with everything, like, I had held on, well, he loves me. He loves me. He has to love me. He promised he would stay, and he loves me, and this is just his own shadows, and he loves me, and this is true love. I fought because I thought it was true love. It wasn't true love. It was a trauma bond and attachment, but I didn't know the difference back then. And it didn't matter how many articles I read telling me this is abusive, this is not right, nobody who loves you would treat you like this. It didn't matter. Didn't matter, because as long as I had that belief that he loved me and he would never ever do anything to hurt me because he truly saw me, and he was the only person who truly saw me for who I was, and he could stand for all my dreams, as long as I believed that he saw me, well, I was holding on. But here's what happened. So I talk a lot about how he went elsewhere and got my friend pregnant. But what I didn't tell you is that if you looked up her name, and I'm not telling you her name, I'm not telling you where to find this, so don't even ask. But if you looked up her name and you looked up a certain gossip site, you would find something that absolutely trashes her. And before you ask, no, I didn't write it. But the day that my partner came in, like, it had been a week. He had left for a week, played house with her, and I had been so classy the whole time. Like, to the point, like, if you've seen Desperate Housewives, when Bree is packing Rex's suitcase after she found out that he wanted a divorce, and, like, she was so classy after finding out he had an affair, like, that level of class. Like, I'm like, okay, well, I'm not going to villainize you to the kids, and I'm not going to tear you apart. Like, what you've done is really horrible, and if you want to go, that's fine, but I'm not throwing your trash I'm not throwing your clothes out onto the lawn, and I'm not going to burn anything. I mean, there's a part of me, the vindictive Scorpio part of me, that would really like to do that. But no, I'm going to rise above that. And instead, I'm going to pack your things, and I'm going to let you sleep in the spare bedroom, which was actually my son's room. And the kids and I will take a room, and you'll take a room. And we can just, like, we've got to deal with each other. We can't leave right away. And, oh, you want to play house with her? Okay, that's fine. But I knew he would be back, because I at least understood my worth. I knew I was an amazing wife. I knew I was a devoted mother, and I knew what my fire was. And I knew he was going to miss that. I knew he was going to miss me. And I mean, I was just like, he'll be back. And she had even been trying to plant ideas in my head and saying things like, well, what if he chooses me? And I'm like, he won't choose you. When I set him free, he won't choose you. And the thing is, he might not even choose me either, but it won't be you. See, you were the excuse. You were the excuse for him to be able to go and do what he did. But at the end of the day, he's either going to have me or he's going to lose me. But you have not won, lady. You have not won. Because I know my worth and I know my value. And I know that he would, if he did lose me, if I finally gave up, I knew it was going to happen. He was going to beg and plead, and he did. When I finally did leave, he did beg and plead. He did everything he could to try to fix it. And then when he realized that, no, he really had screwed up that badly, he went and he worked on himself and he fixed himself. And I'm like, it's not you. You never really saw me. Yeah, you saw I was shiny and sparkly and like, yeah, you can get somebody. But our paths aren't aligned, and I'm done. Like, you're not it. I know what true love is now, and you're not it. You were a beautiful lesson, and I've got that lesson now, and we've graduated from this relationship. And now that you have seen your shadows, go heal yourself so that when your woman does come in, when your lady does come in, your true love, you don't hurt her. Because you saw how much that hurt me. And even to this day, I point that out to him. Even to this day, it's like, look, like, I'll be the first to admit, we did not work well together. We had some good times, yes. And we also had a lot of times we didn't see each other. But I had always seen him. And I had also seen the mask. And I really liked the mask that he put on more than I really liked him. So I was like, I love you in spite of all of your flaws. And he's like, I don't have any flaws. And he keeps showing me the mask. I'm like, no, that's not who you are. And also I didn't know what I could get. And I didn't know that I was settling. I didn't recognize I was squinting and that it wasn't right. And I didn't need to stick it out. I had so many stories. But when I knew that he didn't see me, this was even before we found out that she had gotten pregnant. So it was a week after. And he had been playing house with her. But he had also been texting me and apologizing and trying to make this work. And he finally was like, oh my gosh, you're right. Like, what have I done? Like, you're still standing for me even now. And I'm like, well, yeah. You're my partner. You're the father of my children. Of course I will stand for you. I'll fight tooth and nail against my family and friends to defend you. Like, that's what I do. I just didn't realize that he wouldn't do the same for me. And I probably could have seen that if I'd really looked. Because when his friends and family attacked me and said mean things about me, instead of defending me to them, he would agree with them. And then he would tell me what they said and bring their opinions into it. And I'd be like, but that's not who I am. So no, I'm not going to do that. And then he'd tell me I'm stubborn and that I was wrong. And he'd keep trying to chip away at me instead of defending me to his friends and family, he agreed with them. But the absolute worst, the moment I truly realized that he did not see me clearly at all, and maybe never did, and didn't understand my heart and my integrity, was after that week when he came back. And he had snuck out, and he just didn't come back to her. But then I guess, I don't even know how this happened, but there is, like I said, if you Google her name and you Google the site, it would come up. Her name's on a gossip site. And I had never heard of this gossip site before. In fact, it's never occurred to me to go on a gossip site and put somebody on blast the way that she was put on blast. And I don't know if she wrote it herself to try to get some attention, or she had somebody else do it. But there were some really personal things that she hadn't even shared with me. Like, I didn't even know about it. But it was in the blast about her past. And also had called her a whole bunch of names that I'm a classy lady. I wouldn't ever actually use those names. I mean, I might think them, but say them on a gossip site? And why would I air my dirty laundry like that in such a malicious way? Like, that would just make me look vindictive. And yes, I'm a Scorpio, and yes, I do have a dark side, and I also know what that dark side is capable of. So I really rein that dark side in. And if I do need to unleash that dark side, it's in a fantasy story. I'm not going to do that in my real life, because karma is real. And I'd rather have karma be a cat purring in my lap because it loves me. Karma is my boyfriend. Like, I love that song. Taylor Swift is like my goddess. Anyway, so he is mad when he comes in. He walks in and he's really cold to me. And I'm like, well, what's going on? Like, shouldn't he be like trying to be as warm and loving to me as possible because of this rupture? But no, he's cold. He's distant. And I look at him and I'm like, what's going on? And he's like, you know what you did. And I'm like, oh, what did I do? And he's like, don't play dumb with me. I'm like, what are you talking about? And he walks up to me and he's got his phone in his hands and he puts the screen in front of me and he's like, did you do this? And he shows me the gossip site, and it's very, very quick. I don't even get to read the whole thing yet. It's just like, flash, there's her picture, there's the gossip site. And I'm like, what is that? I'm like, but my first instinct, of course, is like, no. Why would I do something like, I don't even know what this is? And like, what are you showing me? And he's like, don't play dumb. It's exactly how you would write something. It's got your wording. And I'm like, hang on a second. There's writing that looks like mine. Like, I don't know about that. So I go and I look. I actually figure out what he's showing me. And I go and look up this site. And I look at this post that's up there. And it is just, well, first of all, I'm a writer. So I'm immediately like, you think I write like that? I write 10 times better than that. So there's my ego. It's like, no, I write 10 times better than that. And come on, you should know. I write way better. And he's like, well, it's got words sort of like maybe you were trying to disguise it. I'm like, why would I do that? Second question, why would I even do that? And what does this mean? I don't even know what this means. I don't even know. Like I started defending myself, because one of the things is like when people are abusive, they will deliberately say things in a way that get you to jade, which means that you're going to justify, you're going to argue, you're going to defend, or you're going to explain. And I was doing all of that because at that moment I was feeling like, oh my gosh, he thinks I'm this horrible person. I've got to defend myself, instead of being like, hang on. The man that I've spent 11 years with, that I've had 2 children with, that he's seen what kind of a mother I am and what kind of a person I am, he really thinks that I was capable of that? That I would do that to someone? That I would, like I'll tell the truth. but I'm not going to tell the truth in a way that puts me out of integrity. And this was so far out of what I would have ever done in integrity. Like, this was just nasty, malicious, horrible. And then, of course, this is the best part, is that her friend who had felt bad for me believed it and commented on this thing and tore into me for it. And then other people are like, oh, the wife must have written this. She must be so bitter. And I'm like, no, this is the wife. And I didn't use my name. I just said, the woman whose life you just ruined. And I'm like, for whoever who just posted this was really unnecessary. And, you know, yes, it hurts a lot. But, you know, this didn't need to be done. You didn't have to put her on blast like that. Whoever did this did not have to put her on blast. There's a strategic way of doing something and dealing with someone who's hurt you. And it's not to put them on blast and tear them down. But it was fine for strangers to think that. I mean, that's typically what happens. They assume that it's the wife, right? But, you know, I expected better from the person that I'd spent my life with, dedicating myself to. And he didn't. He didn't believe me. In fact, he so didn't believe me that he stonewalled me. He refused to talk to me. And I'm sitting there and I'm desperate, trying to get him to talk to me. And, I mean, I'm not proud of this, but who knows, it might come out in the future. Somebody might say something, so I'll just say it. I was like, well, I guess you don't care if I live or die then. Because if I can't have you, if you don't believe me, out of every single person out there, you don't believe me, you don't stand by me, well, then my life is over. And I was a little desperate and hysterical when I said it. And he said I was crazy. And that was the indicator right there. After that moment, I realized I had been gaslit. After that moment, I realized he didn't see me. After that moment, I realized that the man that I had devoted my life to didn't even trust me. That as I continued to rise up in the world, if somebody tore me down and tried to, like, smear my name in the dirt, that he would be right there believing it. And that's not what you want for friends, that's not what you want for family, and that's not what you want in a partner. You do not want the person who is going to believe the garbage that others say. You need the person who sees you, truly sees you, not the one that's squinting because they feel that they need to stand by you because otherwise they're going to be alone, but they don't really believe you. And that was the other thing, is that now I knew who my partner was. I knew what he was capable of. So when people would accuse him of doing something, chances were pretty good that he had done it. Now, I gave him the benefit of the doubt, but his defensiveness and his violence of the accusations, usually when somebody reacts so violently, instead of being genuinely surprised, yeah, they did it. They totally did it. And they don't want to be accountable for it, which is why they're reacting the way they are. And to the outside, it might seem like they're upset with you for daring to not believe in them, but if you truly do see them, then it doesn't matter what their reaction is. What's your truth? And if you don't trust them, why are you with them? That was the other question I had to ask myself. It's like, I don't trust him. I don't trust him not to hurt me. I don't trust him not to use something against me. What am I doing? And the same goes, like, this is why I tell my moms, it's like, if you don't trust your care provider not to abuse you, you're with the wrong one. It's not a matter of just getting protection. It's like, do you even trust this person? Because trust is important, as I shared earlier. So yeah, that's my story. And I mean, I'm not proud of staying as long as I did, and I'm definitely not proud of letting somebody smear my name and staying like stuck. I'm not proud of that, and at the same time, the lesson that I got from that was invaluable. Because then when I found the person that I truly did see, and I saw past the masks, and I saw past the facades, and I truly saw them, it's like, this is the person I would stand by. Even if somebody dragged his name through the mud, I would stand by him because I can see his heart. And I know that he's actually in integrity. And I would want him to do the same. I can see that if somebody was saying something about me, even if he didn't say it out loud to them, he would make sure that I was protected. He would make sure that my name wasn't smeared through the mud. Because that's who you want in your corner. And that's the same thing with my friends. I know that my friends would rally to me. Because another story that I can share very quickly is when I was a fan fiction writer, and very well renowned and very well respected fan fiction writer that was also very well liked, somebody had brought to my attention that there was a copycat who had taken some scenes, some very, very iconic scenes from a very iconic story that I had written, and appropriated it for their own fandom. And like, you could tell that they hadn't written it, but they would not own up to it. And wouldn't you believe it, but my community rallied to defend me. I didn't have to do a thing. See, when you show your true integrity and you show your heart and you're willing to share your demons and own them, nobody can drag your name through the mud. I mean, I just shared something that a lot of people would try to keep under wraps and they wouldn't admit to. But I'll share it. Hell, I'll go deeper if I have to. If I really have to do something to convey that I am who I say I am, if I have to, I will. But if I don't have to, well, think what you want. Think what you want about me. Think about, like, I know I'm in integrity. I know that when my head hits the pillow every single night, I know that I have said something in a way that was my truth. And if other people misconstrued that truth, that's on them. And if I care enough to clarify, I will. If I feel it's like, okay, maybe I could have said that better, so I will own it and I will make it right. But I'm not going to lose sleep, because every morning I wake up and I know who I am. I know who I want to be. And I know who I am being. And if I'm out of integrity with myself and I don't see it, but others point it out to me, I take that as like, oh, okay, I need to change that just a little bit, because I don't want to be out of integrity with myself and my values. But at the same time, if it doesn't resonate, if it's not with an open heart, if it's not true, doesn't matter what it is. They could say, Carly, you wearing pearls right now is like making you look like you are like you know, like you think you're better than the rest of us. And I'd be like, no, I put on the pearls because I like the pearls. And because Blair Waldorf happens to be one of my favorite fashion icons on Gossip Girl, and I wore pearls when I was 23. I mean, ask some of my friends. Like, I would wear pearls. And I went to the store and I got them. They were cute and I wanted them, and it dresses up my look, and I just felt like wearing pearls today. If you like it, great. If you don't, still, do you trust the message? Don't just pay attention to the facade. Don't just pay attention to how somebody looks in appearance. Pay attention if their words match their actions. Are they in integrity? If they're in integrity and they own their mistakes, that's someone you can trust. If, however, every time you point out one of the mistakes that they're making, and their first thing is to point out how bad and wrong you are and be like, well, no, you're not perfect either, instead of being like, you know what? I can see how you might have thought that. And I can tell you right now that that's not true. Because that's how I started. It's like, I can see how you might think that I'd be hurt enough to say such horrible, malicious things, but I would never do it on the internet, and certainly not on this site. And like, why? Like, what would I gain from doing that? It's like, well, you'd see her suffer. And it's like, I don't want to see anybody suffer. I mean, I want justice. I don't want revenge. There's no sense in revenge. All revenge does is perpetuate the same cycle over and over again. It's the cycle of hate and fear, and you don't get anywhere. You just have a really hard time sleeping at night. So, I mean, I'll share my personal stories, and I'll share what's going on with me, and I'll share what's in my heart and soul. And regardless of how other people might think it's manipulation or whatever, or calling somebody out or putting them on blast, no, it's not. People can do what they want at the end of the day. But I sleep really well at night, knowing that I've made a difference for someone. And I just want to ask you the question. People in your life who currently you might think they see you. How well do you think they actually sleep at night? Could they be deceiving you? And if they are, can you really keep being around those people, knowing that they're lying to you every night? Like, that they're not in integrity with what is truly in their hearts. I would rather sleep alone every night than lie next to someone who doesn't really love me, who's only with me because of what they can get, or only with me because they think that they can't get anything better, or only with me because I let them be with me. I'd rather be alone, because if it's not my true love, I wouldn't be able to sleep at night either. You know that song, Picture? I put your picture away. I can't look at you while I'm lying next to him. Yeah. Nope. Can't do that. And as soon as I realized that I was lying next to someone who didn't see me, didn't love me, that I hadn't seen him clearly for who he was, and that who he was not in integrity with who I wanted to be, I couldn't lie next to him anymore. So I left. It was that simple. I ripped the Band-Aid off and I left. And then I moved towards everything that truly resonated with my heart, whether anybody approved of it or not. And then that's when I attracted the people who really do see me and reflect my greatness back to me, and I reflect theirs back to them. And I don't hang around with people that tear me down anymore, because I value myself too much to do that ever again. Anyway, it is getting really, really warm out here. I'm probably going to get a little bit of a sunburn because I've been sitting out in the sun. But I needed some quiet, and I needed to be in an area where I wouldn't constantly get cut in and out. I don't know what was going on with the Wi-Fi inside, but, technology. So I'm going to go and sit out, and maybe I will work on some more stuff today. It is the first of the month, so it's a new month, new energy. Supposed to be a major shift coming. I don't know what that's going to bring. But around this time of year, something always happens. So I'm just going to trust it. And yeah, I hope that helped in clearing up some things for you. And stay true to your heart, stay true to your soul, and the rest will just fall into place. People will show you in time who they really are, and if they truly see you, or if they just see what they can get from you. And I just pray that you value yourself and see your worth, and know that your people are out there, and they will value you just as you are. And they will love you, all of you. And they won't pull you out of integrity with yourself, but instead have you live more into your values. So wait for them. All right. Talk to you soon. Bye.